Hi, today we are doing a presentation on pigs basics. This is a very basic presentation just for just for starters. So it should be pretty quick, very simple stuffs that are being covered. We'll just go for it. So to start, females are called sows and males are called boars. The pigs can also be called boars or hogs. That's not a slide, but that is also a fact. But of course, it depends on what breed. There are different breeds that might be more prone to one name over another. Um, they can range in size, but many breeds generally do grow to be several hundreds of pounds. These are um, beneficial as some are raised specifically for agricultural use or for human consumption, essentially to be eaten. So that is something that they would probably want them to be larger for specifically. Pigs are omnivores, meaning that they eat both veggies and other miscellaneous foodstuffs. I have heard that they will eat pretty much any type of foodstuffs, so food at expiration can be donated to them so long as the food is still good. I actually worked in the food industry, and we specifically set aside foods that were meant to expire that day. So it could have been, a lot of times food isn't necessarily bad at that time, but it's just like a safety window that that the food has is 100% safe. And like optimum freshness, because if it gets less fresh over time, the sale quality is less, and so the food can be like actually still very much so edible, and it could still sell, um, but it, for best practices, gets pulled from the shelf, to maintain the quality that the business expects and the customers expect. So that food then can be donated to pigs, and then the pigs can eat that, and then as a food source, and that's one way to kind of recycle food waste. But that's not this presentation, of course. But pigs can eat that stuff. I have heard of them. Some of it is like ham sandwiches, and they aren't discerning in that way. They no doubt do not know that is also pig. But and the ethics of that is another question, of course, too. But we're going to leave that one there as well. But they can eat both the veggies, your traditional fare, as well as many other types of foods. They are considered a hairless mammal, though many do have some hair on the back, on their backs, on their bodies, just not enough necessarily to qualify as like a traditional fur. So they are deemed naked or, you know, hairless. Uh, and they can be different colors as well. This is another slide that didn't make it to the presentation, but they can be the pink color, they can be white, they can be white and black, they can be black. And there are different types of pigs across the globe as well. So that you got all sorts of different pigs. They can take to rolling in the mud in order to protect themselves from the elements, because the sun can cause sunburn, and heat can also get to them. They can overheat. They can, um, perhaps feel heat exhaustion, and they do like shade and that level of protection as well, which kind of leads into the next slide. Pigs can live in mixed environments. They can enjoy like barn settings or near the barn settings, as well as field and pasture spaces. Of course, this would open up another conversation about ethics of how much space to give your animals, and what kind of terrain. if with grass or with dirt and things like that. But they can do different environments. They often have curly tails, and they say oink in American popular culture. In some other countries, they can spell the noise differently. They can make the sound differently, and I think that's often taken for granted. Cows go moo, pigs go oink. And so different cultures might say otherwise, might say something else. So bear that in mind. It's up for interpretation more than we might think. So, but our stereotypes, our popular culture has them saying oink. And that is just kind of a basic, very, very basic presentation. Just pulling from Wikipedia, just a very small amount to get us started. Also, personal experiences. I actually have not worked that closely with pigs. I have worked in the food service environment where we collect foodstuffs for pigs, and I have seen pigs like in a semi-farm environment. But otherwise, my work with pigs directly is actually very negligible. So, are there any questions?